Hi, every beautiful, magical, and amazing ones there. Before I start this brand new DIY Once Upon a Time cosplay video, wanted to let you know that this is a re-upload and a re-edited DIY Once Upon a Time cosplay video. I had this on the channel a few years ago, but took it down for various reasons. But now it is back in a newer version. I also want to let you know that these videos have their own intro, which I hope you will enjoy. Then, if you want to know what the next cosplay will be, it will be at the end of the video. But enough talking about this. Now, let's get straight into the video. When I first saw this dress that Regina wore in Camelot, I immediately knew that I wanted to recreate this in a cosplay. And all said and done, I set up the material and started the camera to film how I made my version of Regina's red velvet dress from Camelot. And here is how it happened. Needles, red thread, a red zipper, red velvet fabric, a glue gun, a sewing machine or needle and thread if you don't have a sewing machine, scissors, patterns that you made yourself or bought in a store, sequin ribbon, and some iron-on sequin ribbon. This is not my favorite part of cosplaying, namely pinning the pattern onto the fabric, as it always wants to slide around. But once you nail it, it's time to cut. Something I always forget at the beginning of me cosplaying was to cut the seam allowance. So don't forget that, because otherwise the measurements between the seams won't be right and the dress won't look as perfect as you want it to be. Now it's time to sew the different parts of the dress together. When I sew in fabric that is stretchy, I always use a zigzag stitch. But if you don't have a sewing machine, you can of course sew it by hand. And don't forget to sew the zipper in the back of the dress. And for some reason, I totally forgot to film that when you are sewing zippers onto the fabric, you need to change the sewing machine foot to a different one that is made for sewing zippers. So don't forget to change that before you sew on the zipper to the dress. Now it's time for the sleeves. I always make my own patterns, but sleeves in particular have not been my favorite thing to do. So I took an old shirt that was torn and used the sleeve as a pattern. And I chose to cut the sleeve first, then cut the triangle flaps that the sleeves have for themselves. And when I done that, I just pinned them together. And always remember to not pin them close, because I did that and I had to remake it. It took time, so don't do that mistake. Then it was time to sew the sleeve parts together, and it can be a little tricky at first, but after a few adjustments, it really worked perfectly. Also, don't forget to hem the edges of the triangle flaps when you are making them, because it's gonna look much better if you do. Now the sleeves have to be sewn onto the dress, and that's the hardest thing I know when it comes to cosplay. I don't know how many times I've sewn it wrong when it comes to the sleeves on this cosplay, but I finally got it right, and it did turn out pretty well in the end. I looked everywhere for the same type of jewelry that Regina has on her dress, but I couldn't find it anywhere. So these were the closest I could find. However, they were very difficult to iron on. I don't know if it was the fabric or if the glue wasn't that good, but after a lot of ironing, the rhinestone band stuck to the dress. Now it's time to create the belt, and what is shown first here in the video is actually a test belt that I remade later in the video. And I used the same fabric as the dress and hem the edges all the way and created the belt that way. And the belt was probably the easiest thing to do on this cosplay, in my opinion. Again, I'm trying to find the same rhinestone ribbon that Regina had on her belt, but I could never find it. So this was the closest thing that I could find, and I tried to sew it on at first, but the sequins were too hard to sew on, so it was just easier to glue it with a glue gun, and I really like how it turned out. Thank you so much for watching the DIY Once Upon a Time cosplay video, and there is going to be more. And the next DIY Once Upon a Time cosplay video that is coming is going to be Snow White's pregnant dress. This dress she was wearing when she was pregnant with Emma, and this was actually a request from you. So I really hope you will enjoy seeing how it will come to life. And if you have any other requests for upcoming cosplays that you would love to see, let me know in the comments down below, and I will see you in the next video. Always remember that I love you all to the moon and back, and stay amazing and magical. Bye!